The International is coming. The world's best Dota 2 teams fighting for their chance to be forever remembered as the greatest players of all time. Each team and player bringing with them a unique story to share. This is the International Lowdown, and this is the story of TNC Predator. Confidence. It's a powerful thing in esports, especially in games like Dota, where a confident team can gain the momentum that can nearly win them tournaments like the International all on their own. But confidence can be pretty hard to build, especially when you're having trouble winning. For TNC, lacking confidence has been an issue for quite some time. Frequently thought of as the smaller organization in Southeast Asia in comparison to Mineski, TNC has been an underdog org for quite a while now. While other orgs in SEA tried to keep the teams filled with strictly regional players, TNC was never afraid to get a little bit of outside help, famously hiring thinkers like Demon, 1437, and Kips to aid them in their plight to finally become the best. But outside help never really seemed to get them the results that they were after. The team was capable of doing some truly incredible things, one of which being the biggest upset in the International's history. At the International 6, TNC faced off against Team OG, who many would consider to be shoo-ins for winning the entire tournament. OG beat them in 2 head-to-head matches prior, and that team somehow came back from a 20,000 gold deficit to beat OG in their second game of the series. They shocked the world at large and earned themselves over 20 million Filipino pesos. But with TI7 on the horizon, the team's confidence began to fade after a string of losses. After seeking outside help once again to try to find a foreign thinker to lead them to victory at TI7, much like Demon had done at TI6, the team hired 1437. This time, however, the team would do pretty poorly, and their loss would hurt TNC significantly as they struggled through the entirety of the new Dota Pro Circuit. It had been a wild ride for the members of TNC, going from becoming heroes to zeros in the span of less than a year in the eyes of their countrymen. Something had to be done, and for the first time in ages, the team decided to keep the entire team Filipino and work on themselves rather than seek outside help. It finally started to pay off late into the Dota Pro Circuit, where they eventually saw some success, placing second in MDL last December and fourth at the Dota Asia Championships, an event many would consider to be the Chinese Internationals. After nearly a year of hardship, TNC was finally back in form and qualified for the International as a 5-man Filipino squad for the very first time. The man who stepped up to the plate to replace the outside influences on the team and soon would become their main thinker himself is Cuckoo. Cuckoo grew into the all-star that he is today by practicing late into the night at local LAN cafes. Cuckoo's daughter was born when he was 19, and he desperately needed his professional gaming career to take off in order to support his new family, a drive that would push him to succeed until this very day. Originally a member of TNC's biggest rival squad, Mineski, Cuckoo got Mineski 12th place at the first Valve Major, which was a huge accomplishment at the time for Southeast Asian Dota. After joining TNC in 2016, he has remained loyal to the team ever since, staying for 2 years and being the longest standing player on the current TNC roster. When it was time to make the team an all-Filipino squad with absolutely no outside help, it would be Cuckoo who stepped up to the plate as the team's captain, putting his life of flashy plays behind him to take up the support position and lead his team to unimaginable glory. The other player who stayed behind on TNC with Cuckoo after TI6 is Sam H, one of the big playmakers on the team. Sam H is known for a lot of things, mostly for being a deadly roamer, and his Sand King plays are absolutely lethal to his enemies. They're commonly the force behind TNC's wins when the chips are all down. Building his skills for Dota 2 at local net cafes, Sam H loved the community aspect of those LAN cafes and thinks that his time playing in them helped him reach his current success. He loves LAN cafe life so much that after his big win prize pool he got at WESG, he bought himself a net cafe with his friends Cuckoo and Raven. One of the loudest members of the team in the game, according to his teammates, Sam H keeps to himself in the eyes of the world, hardly ever posting anything on social media or other outlets, while his teammates are pretty much fiends. No, Sam H doesn't have a lot to talk about because everything he needs to say, he can say on the field of battle. TNC through and through, Sam H has never been on another big pro team other than TNC. And it will be his dream to see the team that he had helped build win their very first international. Winning games, that's one way to build confidence on your team, but another is to have somebody whip you into shape. For TNC, they call Tim's the older brother of the squad. While others might be quiet in the public eye, he tends to love to bully his teammates into sheer excellence. A fantastic player in his own right, Tim's was known as one of the best Earth Spirit players in the entire world in 2016. And this was when Earth Spirit was one of the strongest heroes in the game, rivaling even the master at the time, Jerax. No stranger to the International, Tim's attended TI6 with Team Execration, where they were responsible for yet another massive upset at the tournament, eliminating Team Complexity and arriving to the tourney as the fabled wildcard team. This time, the big brother is looking to blow fans' minds at the International 8. The player that Tim's jokingly picks on the most would unfortunately be Raven, who tends to mostly laugh it off. Raven's career really started to pick up after joining TNC in 2015, and after his TI6 success, he took a very risky move, leaving the team that made him a star and joining Fnatic along with Demon. Where most players join and leave teams all the time, more concerned with their own careers rather than their friendships, the move actually weighed heavily on Raven, as he felt like he had left his buddies behind for his own personal glory. Getting well known from True Sight, Raven was devastated when Fnatic ended up being a failure, and he felt like his friends might not forgive him after all. But that couldn't have been further from the truth, as his teammates welcomed him back with open arms and were happy that he got a little bit of experience that he could bring back to his home team. A huge comic book nerd himself, Raven is a superhero in the game, holding the record for the most killed enemy heroes at any Valve event, having 33 kills under his name as his famous Spectre, while only having 3 deaths. With 30 liking games to his name in the last 12 months and rocking an incredible 83% win rate on the hero, Raven is a very aggressive carry player. While other carries like to go off and farm creeps, Raven is famous for farming heroes, and he is the driving force behind TNC's hyper-aggressive playstyle right now. We'll see if his enemies are ready for those insane aggressive plays very soon. The last member of TNC's squad is one of their most dedicated. Armel started playing Dota 2 at only 12 years old, and he dropped out of school when he was 14 to follow his dream of being a professional Dota 2 player. Surprisingly, his parents recognized his gift, and they supported his decision. Kids, I'll try that one at home. 3 years after his start, he joined his first pro team, Clutch Gamers, and he was invited by the team's captain, Fly Solo, who believed that the pub star would soon become Southeast Asia's next superstar. And that was for a pretty good reason. Armel was the second highest MMR player at the time, right behind the incredible Abe. A natural-born mid laner, Armel loves the challenge the lane provides, saying, quote, "When I manage to outplay my opponent, I just love that feeling." One of the main reasons TNC escaped their long post-TI7 slump, Armel was voted the team's MVP at DAC 2018 and got his team 4th place at the tournament with his ever-growing skills. Armel has always had a natural talent, and his talent only seems to be growing with the more experience that he can acquire. But nothing makes a player better than facing off against the best, and with TI around the corner, he will soon get his first shot. And that is the story of TNC, a team that has lived in many a shadow, but now is becoming the shining light in all of SEA Dota. Finally developing the confidence in themselves to play on the biggest stage in the world, TNC is looking better than they ever have before at an international. More than a year of hard work and dedication on both themselves and each other have led them to this historic moment. And while the pride of the Philippines does have a hard road ahead of them, there is no other team in Dota 2's history more well known for their ability to have some huge upsets at the international stage. No Aegis has ever been claimed by Southeast Asia before, but TNC seem confident enough that maybe this year it will be them who lift that prize in the air.